I see BJP coming up quite a bit, but what's your perspective on the rise of BJP in Tamil Nadu?
BJP overnight cannot convert itself into a major political force in Tamil Nadu. Especially a lot of people are very enthusiastic about Annamalai. Annamalai is a very inclusive leader, but unless and otherwise he shows an electoral victory, thrust is not going to happen. So 2024 is going to be the acid test. BJP has to do a lot more to build their cadre base. BJP on their own, if they touch the 10 percentage mark, then they will immediately jump to a larger committed vote base. BJP should be very careful and not depend on riding on one of the Dravidian party's shoulder. I don't think BJP can form the government in 2026. The moment they win 30 to 40 seats, they may even become a kingmaker.
All right, sir. So I see BJP coming up quite a bit, but what's your perspective on the rise of BJP in Tamil Nadu, sir?
See, Tamil Nadu, one thing is very clear. The Dravidian parties still, or the base, they have the edge in Tamil Nadu, both DMK, ADMK put together. So, unless otherwise one of that loses its significance, BJP overnight cannot convert itself into a major political force in Tamil Nadu. While, yes, this is happening, and there is a good popularity is happening, especially a lot of people are very enthusiastic about Annamalai. The problem is whether is it converting into votes. Yes, to an extent it is. When we look at the local body election that happened few months back, there was a significant amount of rise in the vote share that BJP got compared to the previous local body election. In the positions that they contested, they stood about 9.5 percentage vote share they got. That is, into only the 5,200 odd seats they contested. Whereas when you talk about the overall, the way election commission calculates, it is about 5 percentage vote share. So they have moved away from 2.5 to 5 percentage. There is a growth. So this is going to keep growing for two reasons. Number one, Annamalai is a very inclusive leader, but unless and otherwise he shows an electoral victory, the thrust is not going to happen. And the 2024 election is going to be another benchmark for Annamalai's performance. Nevertheless, having said that, I wouldn't take the local body election as the major acid test, because local body election people vote basically for to the ruling party majority. I'm not generalizing it. Most of the time that is what happens. Second, significant amount of money played from the ruling party in a 9-month governance. If they had to depend on paying money for the voters and then not win on the basis of their performance, even though people were very much ready to give them time, because a lot of poll promises were not met, the people are not angry, but still they had to resort to this level. Means they knew that they didn't want ADMK or BJP to gain significant amount of seats and then create a perception that this government is failing. That is why they spent a lot of money. They can't do the same thing in a general election, parliament election, or in 2026 election. So 2024 is going to be the acid test. Having said that, BJP has to do a lot more to build their cadre base. Currently, we see all leaders are there. Recently they announced a new organization structure and office bearers. But again, if this office bearer happens to be just the nomenclature, and then on the letter pad and in visiting cards, and then if they just do only for themselves, then one can forget it. It cannot be just one or two people who actually shoulder this. Yes, on the one or two people who can create a popularity, but on the ground, booth level, there have to be a strengthened party, which is unfortunately not the case, and probably not going to be the case in 2024 election also, unless otherwise something drastic happens in the next 2 years. So the party cadre base, party base at the booth level, have to be strengthened significantly in the next 2 years for them to showcase some amount of. See, the moment first 10% is going to be the problem. The moment, say for example, BJP touches 8 or 9 percentage or 10 percentage on their own, then people will start turning towards BJP. The reason I'm telling you is, if you take all the major political parties put together, their committed vote base, including BJP, Congress, PMK, DMDK, VCK, DMK, ADMK, AMMK, all these put together, the committed vote base is 52 percentage of the voters. 52 to 60 percentage. I'm discounting those who do not vote. Nearly 30 to 35 percentage don't vote in every election. Leave them aside. Out of the 65 to 70 percentage who vote, about 60 percentage of them are the committed vote base. The remaining 40 are the swing voters who keep changing their votes. So if BJP is showing a progress, say touching a 10 percentage mark, then out of that 40, many could become a committed vote base in any election. To be very frank, in last 30 years, DMK's total vote base has never crossed 21 to 22 percentage on their own. ADMK's total vote base have never gone above 25 to 26 percentage. It's only the alliances which has actually changed the game plan. The alliance, if formidable alliance is formed, then all these 1 to 5 percentage votes put together crosses the 35-36 percentage mark. And some issues based, say for example 10 years of anti-incumbency. See, if you look at 2021 election, the total vote share percentage difference between DMK combined and ADMK combined is about 2 to 2.5 percentage. That's all.
Yeah.
So it is not a wipeout. When you look at Uttar Pradesh, the difference is about 8 to 10 percentage. It's not the case in Tamil Nadu. So the difference is how good your alliance is, and his alliance votes are getting transferred. So BJP on their own, if they touch the 10 percentage mark, then they will immediately jump to a larger committed vote base. Vijaykanth missed that opportunities in 2011. 2011 he got about 11 percentage vote, DMDK, though he was in alliance with the ADMK, but still got 11 percentage vote in the places where he contested. He didn't consolidate in 2000. He was not allowed to consolidate his position in 2016 by Jayalalitha by forming a Makkal Nala Kutani. 5 parties came together and then formed alliance. The fundamental reason was to actually destabilize Vijaykanth's growth. So BJP, being a national party, will not fall into the trap, but they cannot be riding on, like Congress, they cannot be riding on one of the Dravidian party's shoulder, which will weaken them even further. Congress was until 1967 was ruling Tamil Nadu. Between 1967 and today, without DMK, they don't exist. In fact, nationally, some of their contribution in the parliament or the numbers, they actually touched this 40, 50, 45, 55, 52 number, and 9 of them came from Tamil Nadu, courtesy DMK's alliance.
Yep.
If DMK alliance does not exist, then Congress will hardly win even one seat, probably 2 or 3 percentage vote in Tamil Nadu. And so BJP should be very, very careful and not depend on riding on one of the Dravidian party shoulder. Even if couple of elections they don't win majority, but they should actually consolidate the cadre base. I think that is what Annamalai should be doing, and that's what Annamalai would be planning in my opinion.
Right. So in the 2024, in the next election, 2026, right? In the next election that's coming, assembly. So I think they will still go with ADMK, right? Because they are not yet prepared to go alone in that one.
I would say 2024 for sure they will go with ADMK. 2026, in my opinion, assembly, whether they, I don't think BJP can form the government in 2026. Even if it is a miracle happens, they are not going to form the election. But at least their aim is to should be to win 35 to 45 seats on their own, and that is what they should work towards. Which means then the moment they win 30 to 40 seats, they may even become a kingmaker between DMK and ADMK to form the government. So they may be a kingmaker or at least a formidable opposition where their growth cannot be stopped beyond that. Okay. So that is what the BJP should be aiming for 2026. If BJP is aiming to form the government in 2026, at this point in time, I don't see that happening. And at least they should not fool themselves. They can give a public posturing saying that 2026 they are going to form the government. No party will even PMK keeps saying they are going to form the government. Kamala Hassan, Seeman keeps saying they are going to form the government, they are going to become the CM. Posturing is okay. But if internally, if they are thinking that 2026 BJP will form the government, extremely sorry, they are not in that position yet. I don't think they should be working towards that, in my opinion.
Right. And Mr. Annamalai is very shrewd. He understands, definitely. And I think they're working towards that bit by bit.
But how much of Annamalai's, decisions are not influenced is a big question. If I look at the party office bearer list today, I'm sure Annamalai would not have accommodated few people. I'm not going to name the people in that who had got the position and all. I'm sure Annamalai would at least about 10 to 20% of the people Annamalai would not have want to see that name in that list at all.
Okay.
So there are certain people whom he didn't want to. I personally know that there are certain people he kept them away at an arm's length. But I find those names in that, and there are some significant changes happened. Say for example, the Kongu Mandalam General Secretary AP Muruganandam appointment is good because Annamalai had a very good opinion especially during the local body election. Annamalai was very impressed with his performance. And but at the same time, look at Vinoj P. Selvam was removed from state youth leader, and made a state secretary.
Right.
Probably because he didn't see any traction from him. Okay, but many of so those decisions are welcome because as a president of the party in Tamil Nadu, you have to be cutthroat to say that I want performance and I don't want anybody to
Obviously.
just take the name. Vinoj P. Selvam had been two-term youth lead, and then fine, he has been given a different role. He was not totally ignored. That is a different story. But some of the names I see, knowing what is happening in the party, he would not have wanted to see those names in that list. But someone else had pressurized to put those names in. It was a compromise list. So, does Annamalai have so much of, can he do what he wants? Because if that sort of a freedom is given to Annamalai, I'm sure he's going to rock. He already rocks, no doubt about it. I always keep saying in many other debates saying that Tamilisai Soundarajan laid the foundation. She kept on saying that Tamarai Malarnde Thirum, that the lotus will
Bloom.
boom in Tamil Nadu. Okay, she kept on saying it to every journalist that she ever saw in her life. And Murugan was a very short runway, but still he made a mark through the Veil Yatra and all. But Annamalai is carrying that baton far more vigorously, far more
Agree.
aggressively. No doubt about it. Youth are behind him. Actually, more than the party cadres, the outside people have too much of faith in Annamalai. The non-party, cadre base that he has created, it's a fan club that he has created, have more faith on him. Hopefully, they will convert themselves into a vote. They will bring more votes and all. But does Annamalai have a say in the party functioning? I would say it's a 80-20. 20 percentage he still has to compromise, and several leaders who had been there for long before, who have their allegiance to one of the Dravidian parties, are sidelined, and they are not happy. They are not going to keep quiet. They are going to ensure that their political career is not set aside. So they are going to keep giving some trouble or the other to him. But I'm sure he is a shrewd person. He
Yeah.
has at least the blessings of Nadda, BL Santosh, and Amit Shah
Santosh.
ji, and Prime Minister. I'm sure that he has all those support. But he cannot go to them every time and then say
Agree.
so and so is creating a problem, because he has been given that mantle. So he would be expected to keep their and he is doing it well. Otherwise, today there's only Annamalai who speaks in the media, nobody else.
Right.
Otherwise, you could have seen 10 people saying 10 different things. There are several motor mouths in BJP across India. I'm not just saying Tamil Nadu, across
Right.
India who keep saying what comes to their mind, and he has ensured that he had controlled all of them so far. I think he is having a reign on the of the party position, but some decisions he still is not free to make on his own. He has been influenced, which I think he is managing pretty well so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree.